In the episode Pinned, SpongeBob's latest workout goes horribly wrong. He adds a few too many plush toys to his barbell and ends up trapped underneath his own weight set. Stranded on the floor of his rarely seen home gym, SpongeBob desperately tries to free himself and get some help, kicking off an episode filled with nods to SpongeBob's history. So let's get into that because I know it's why you clicked on the video. We're going to be talking about Easter eggs, trivia, and facts. As right off the bat, the setting of this intro of this episode is in itself an Easter egg. SpongeBob's exercise room hasn't appeared in the show for like years, and I'm not exaggerating, it's been a long time. In fact, this home gym was a one-off location mostly seen in earlier seasons. For example, when SpongeBob tried to train Gary in the episode The Great Snail Race, or even in the very first episode of SpongeBob Help Wanted, with its most recent appearance before this one being in the season 9 episode Sharks vs. Pods. Well, this returned in Pin nearly a decade later is a fun deep cut reference in itself. And it's something that's very easy to miss. Like, I know it seems like I'm making a big deal out of a room in SpongeBob's house, but what makes this an Easter egg is the fact that it would appear all the time in earlier seasons, and then it was basically just like removed from SpongeBob lore. So it's cool to see it back in Pinned. But let's keep it going with more references, trivia, and Easter eggs. SpongeBob's plan to signal for help goes wrong when a bottle containing his written plea slips from his window and bops Squidward on the head outside. This dude was just trying to sunbathe and chill, and then he gets bottled. I'm not gonna lie, I would also be kind of upset. And well, because of this, Squidward calls the police. Can you really blame him? From here, the scene shifts to the Bikini Bottom police station. And this is where we can find a bunch more Easter eggs, and they're all really cool. If we look over here, we can spot a wanted poster on the wall. There's actually two throughout the entire police station, both featuring two familiar criminals from past adventures. And just saying, these may seem like Easter eggs I've covered before, but they're actually new. They're just similar to other Easter eggs I've covered in the past, but we'll get to that. The first right here is Dennis, the very nostalgic character from the original 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And I discussed this in a previous video, but for years, characters from that film were off limits to the TV series. But this actually changed in the mid-2010s. Dennis finally made his first TV series appearance as a background Easter egg in season 11's Call the Cops, also visible on a wanted poster in the station. Well, Pinned is actually giving us like a double entendre. They're giving us like a double whammy Easter egg here. Like I said, this is like an Easter egg of an Easter egg. Like, it's referencing the 2004 movie, but it's also referencing the Easter egg that we seen in Call the Cops. We can also see the Tattletale Strangler also in a wanted poster. And I mean, come on, you guys should know this guy. He's the dude from SpongeBob Meets the Strangler. SpongeBob snitches on him, and yeah, it doesn't go very well for SpongeBob.
Hey, that looks like me!
I mean, it works out in the end, but it could have gone pretty bad. But yeah, this one is also an Easter egg of an Easter egg, as if we go back to Call the Cops, he also appeared in that episode on a wanted poster. So really cool stuff right here. I love the continuity, and I love the callbacks to classic characters like these. As you guys know, I grew up watching the show like on TV. I'm a Canadian boy, so I was watching it on YTV, and these episodes in particular, like SpongeBob Meets the Strangler and that OG 2004 SpongeBob movie, are like literally my childhood. But as I always say, let's keep it moving and talk about more Easter eggs. If we head back to SpongeBob's situation in Pinned, SpongeBob remains stuck under the weights as hours pass. But help finally, or so we think, arrives in the form of Patrick, who in typical Patrick fashion completely misses the crisis. Like, instead of rescuing SpongeBob, Patrick throws an impromptu surprise party in the house, inviting a horde of oddball guests who turn out to be a parade of Easter eggs themselves.
The coast is clear. Oh boy, this is gonna be the best surprise party SpongeBob's ever had.
Notably, Patrick shows up with a crew of pie-wielding pirates. Well, I mean, they're not wielding pies this time, but they did in the past, as you may recognize these scurvy characters as Captain Cruel and his band of pirate incidentals, originally from the season 2 episode Dying for Pie. In that episode, Squidward encountered the pirates when they were loading their pirate ship with these explosive pies.
Oh, these aren't homemade. They were made in a factory. A bomb factory. They're bombs.
Over 20 years later, Pind brings Captain Cruel back to Bikini Bottom, and Patrick somehow found him and his pirate gang and invited them to SpongeBob's party. And like I said, even a few of Dying for Pie's crew members reappear. Yeah, they were background characters back then, so it's really cool to see them back here in Pind with Captain Cruel. And the guest list doesn't end there. Also present at SpongeBob's surprise party, if you want to call it that, are 3 tough-looking fish that should be very familiar to old-school SpongeBob fans. Specifically fans of the season 3 episode No Weenies Allowed. We spot the hulking Bubba fish, this guy right here, the Popeye fish, a sailor-like muscular fish with anchor tattoos, and most unmistakably, Reg, the bouncer, the Salty Spittoon's tattooed tough guy doorman, who famously tells SpongeBob no weenies allowed. Poor SpongeBob. All 3 of these very nostalgic characters make cameo appearances at SpongeBob's party, dancing and hanging out in the background. But there's even more. This commotion leads to a blink and you'll miss it Easter egg beneath the floorboards. In one quick shot, we see Wally, this guy right here, the long-lost handyman from season 13's Walhalla, lurking unhappily between SpongeBob's floors.
Welcome to Walhalla!
I mean, I guess he wasn't expecting guests to be over that day. But for those of you who don't know who this character is, this is actually like a really cool Easter egg. As in Walhalla, Wally was a repairman who got accidentally wallpapered into the interior walls of SpongeBob's pineapple home years ago, with him creating a whole secret world behind the drywall. He's basically lived there and continues to live there, which is why we see him so disturbed when everybody's partying. They probably woke him up. And just saying to the writers, just really nice touch. This is a nice touch. Sometimes with these Easter eggs, you can tell that they're just throwing nostalgia at us. Like they'll just have an old school character appear, but this one actually kind of ties into the writing. As if there was a party going on at SpongeBob's house, it probably would interrupt Wally. You know, it makes me wonder if we go back to Party Pooper Pants from the earlier seasons, where SpongeBob holds that whole party at his house. I imagine Wally wasn't a big fan of that party either. Now, I was going to wrap this section up, but while I was reviewing all of the Easter eggs and confirming them, making sure that they're legit, I came across another one, so we have to rewind back to the start of the episode, as we see SpongeBob watching a certain TV show that features a certain character. If we look at the episode Under the Small Top from season 12, there's a scene where Squidward tried to follow along with an on-screen aerobics class led by a peppy, striped shirt fish.
And twist and kick. Higher, ladies. I said higher.
Well, if you look at the start of Pinned, SpongeBob is watching that exact same show. We can see that the same aerobics instructor fish is there. If we do a side-by-side with this episode and Under the Small Top, we can see it's the same character. So this is another Easter egg and some really cool continuity. In new age SpongeBob, you know, it's not as good as old school SpongeBob, but one thing that they do that I really like is world building. Like that TV show exists in the world of SpongeBob, which is why SpongeBob can be seen watching it in this episode, and then Squidward can be seen watching it in another episode. It's the same thing as like the Fancy Living Digest magazine. We've seen it introduced in Chocolate with Nuts, but we've also seen it in other instances, showing that that's like a real magazine within the world of Bikini Bottom. So yeah, really cool stuff. Real quick though, and I know that this is probably annoying to my regular viewers, but please subscribe if you're new, guys. I use no AI in my content at all. I'm like one of the only SpongeBob like sleep channels that doesn't use AI. And again, I'm sorry to my regular viewers and subscribers who have to hear me say this every video. Please understand, guys. But let's head over to another episode. In The Great Patty Capper, SpongeBob faces a Krabby Patty crisis that sends him on a crazy adventure. The episode opens at the Krusty Krab, where SpongeBob discovers they're all out of Krabby Patties.
Mr. Krabs! We're all out of Krabby Patties, sir!
That's
It's nothing to fuss over, boy. We'll just whip up a new batch.
So, Mr. Krabs hastily brews a new batch of patty batter in the office. But in the process, Plankton attempts to steal it. So Mr. Krabs wants a more permanent solution to stop this from happening. So he mails the secret formula to a far-off vault for safekeeping, only to eventually realize he needs it back to continue cooking. From here, SpongeBob and Patrick board a high-speed train to go and retrieve the formula from a distant storage facility, while Plankton sneaks along to steal it for himself. This is actually like a half-hour special with a very interesting plot, but we're here for Easter eggs, trivia, and facts. So let's talk about that. Early on, as SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs attempt to recreate Krabby Patties from memory, the show slips in a rare bit of Krabby Patty lore. In their argument over the recipe, actual ingredients of the secret formula are mentioned, a very uncommon occurrence in the series. If you listen closely, you can learn that the formula includes flour, barnacle shavings, turmeric, and a debated type of salt.
Salt comes after barnacle shavings. Or was it lesions? No, that doesn't sound right either.
Was it pustule?
Heavens no. That's disgusting.
As you just seen, these ingredients are revealed in a comedic way. But for fans, this is actually a really cool canonical detail, finally giving us some insight into the recipe. And just saying, if you've been keeping track and have been watching all my videos, we've actually gotten other ingredients. As for example, back in Friend or Foe, we learned that seaweed sauce is also an ingredient in the Krabby Patty secret formula. So we're almost there, guys. Maybe one day we'll figure out what the actual recipe is. And as I've joked about in the past, hopefully it doesn't include any crab meat. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put this rumor to rest. It's actually been confirmed by Steven Hillenburg and other SpongeBob producers like Vincent Waller that Krabby Patties contain no animal products whatsoever, with Krabby Patties acting more as like a veggie burger. So yeah, if you've ever wondered if that whole rumor is true, it isn't true. Back to the episode though. When Mr. Krabs decides to hide the formula off-site, the story makes a quick detour to a Bikini Bottom news broadcast. Here we get a hilarious piece of SpongeBob trivia with news anchor Perch Perkins addressing his co-anchor, the up until now nameless, realistic-looking bass fish, often seen on TV. But this time he gives him a name, which is a big thing for SpongeBob canon, calling him Elaine.
We now go to Perch Perkins live on the scene.
Thanks, Elaine.
A fun fact is that this was the first time that this character was ever given a name. Before this, we just knew him as the realistic fish head. But also, if we take a look at the 2003 video game Battle for Bikini Bottom, the developers actually gave this character a name much earlier on, calling him Johnny. So the great Patty Capper's actually rewriting a little bit of lore, but I mean, come on, who are we gonna take more seriously, the writers of the show or the writers of the video game? Johnny is a much cooler name though, just saying. But as SpongeBob and Patrick set off on the Oceanic Express train to recover the formula, viewers might notice a familiar face, or rather a familiar character model. We eventually meet the character, the Teller, and if we look closely, this character looks very similar to the Tattletale Strangler. It's been speculated by fans that the animators essentially reused the Strangler's design for this background character. And there's differences, but they're also very similar. Who knows, maybe the Strangler cleaned up and got a day job, but honestly, this likely wasn't meant as a storyline like connection. It's probably the artists just reusing art, and you can't really blame them. Think of how many background characters and side characters there are in SpongeBob. But I still thought this was interesting. Halfway through this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick gear up, literally to search the speeding train for the missing vault key. And in a brief scene, Patrick snaps on a pair of rubber gloves. And this may give you deja vu, as these gloves look exactly like the ones he wore back in the episode Suds, if we do a side-by-side. Back in that nostalgic episode, Patrick infamously pretended to be a doctor to treat SpongeBob's cold, but he wasn't very good at being a doctor, as you can imagine. This is Patrick Star we're talking about here. But in that episode, he donned these gloves. And honestly, while some people think that this is like an Easter egg, I think this is more similar to that Tattletale Strangler one, where the art team just reused some assets. Nonetheless though, even if they didn't do it intentionally, this is technically a reference to an older episode. Just it might not be an intentional one. But yeah, I'm gonna gonna head into another episode, but one thing I wanted to mention, another fun fact, is that this episode was originally gonna be titled something different. It was originally going to be titled Krabby Patty No More. But yeah, that does it for this episode. Let's head into another one. Dude, this next episode has so many Easter eggs, so get ready, it's gonna be fun. SpongeBob on Parade finds Bikini Bottom hosting its annual parade, and Mr. Krabs seizes the opportunity for free publicity, which is very fitting of our favorite greedy crab. He enters a Krusty Krab float into the parade, and honestly, this episode is like just built for Easter eggs. When Mr. Krabs informs SpongeBob and Squidward about the parade contest, Squidward claims that he has no idea what kind of float to build. So Mr. Krabs cheerfully tells him to use your imagination. And you guys can probably guess what's coming here, as upon hearing that magic word, SpongeBob instantly strikes a classic pose.
You get to be creative and use your imagination.
Imagination.
For the like 2 of you who don't know this moment is a direct reference to the beloved Idiot Box gang, where SpongeBob and Patrick use imagination to play in a cardboard box, much to Squidward's confusion and annoyance.
Squidward, we don't need television. Not as long as we have our imagination.
On top of this, not only does SpongeBob form the rainbow above his head, but the rainbow itself drips and falls apart like liquid, which is also another reference, as this exact same thing happened during a musical number in Suction Cup Sympathy. Did I just say sympathy? I meant Suction Cup Symphony. Let me get it right, that's how you know I'm not AI, alright? But yeah, play the clip. This gag in Sponge on Parade is another 2-for-1 Easter egg, but this is like light work compared to some of the Easter eggs coming up, guys. Like, this episode has so many. Charged with building the float, SpongeBob goes into construction mode, which triggers another sly Easter egg. If we do a side-by-side, this is like the exact same construction worker outfit he wore back in the episode Stuck on the Roof. In that season 11 episode, SpongeBob donned the getup to fix a problem on the Krusty Krab's roof. The fact that SpongeBob is wearing the exact same outfit is really cool. What's also cool is the scene that follows, as the actual float building sequence continues with another like neat Easter egg, guys. So many in this episode. Squidward sends SpongeBob off to find materials to build the float, and the show highlights a dumpster overflowing with wood and junk by shining a single spotlight on it. I noticed this right away, but this is a clear gag to season 4's The Play's The Thing, as in that episode, there's a very similar scene. Squidward puts on a play at the Krusty Krab, and at one point, a heavenly spotlight highlights a dumpster.
Oh, the trash is full. I had better call the garbage truck. Beep, 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 beep.
The true Easter eggs, though, really start to appear when it's time for the actual parade. Perch Perkins, the Bikini Bottom news reporter, is joined by the Ice Cream King, a very obscure character who first and last appeared in the season 12 episode Patrick's Coupon. Back in that episode, the Ice Cream King challenged Patrick to a series of contests, but in this episode, he's back as a co-host for the parade. And a funny bit of dialogue is that the Ice King expresses surprise that Perch Perkins is like a real person.
Hey, you that guy! How'd you get out of my TV, you bad little boy?
There's actually also another really cool like detail going on here, as when the camera zooms in on Perch Perkins, he's wearing light purple face powder. There's like these splotches of purple on his face. And this isn't random, it's an Easter egg poking fun at Perch Perkins' inconsistent coloring throughout the series. From season 1 up until like season 8, Perch Perkins was always colored as orange. For example, in the episodes Once Bitten, we can see it here, but he's orange, or in the episode Blackjack, we can see him on TV, and he's orange. And here's one more example to show you. If we look at Computer Overload, he's orange. But this changed like very randomly in season 9. Out of nowhere, starting with the episode Squid Plus One, look, Perch randomly became purple. This would go back and forth over the years. For example, in season 9's What's Eating Patrick, he's again purple, but in a later episode from the same season, in Goodbye Krabby Patty, he's back to being orange. Well, according to supervising director Dave C., the purple blob splotches on Perk's face in SpongeBob on Parade are a deliberate reference to this flip-flopping color scheme over the years. It's supposed to be makeup, so it's not just me speculating, this is confirmed by SpongeBob-like staff. In fact, Dave noted that Perch has recently been revealed to be permanently orange, and this was thanks to his CGI model in Camp Coral. They decided that if he's orange in, like, the prequel show, he should remain orange throughout the regular show, which I definitely agree with. Another cool Easter egg can also be found during the same scene if we rewind a little bit, because if we look at the crowd of people, there's a ton of Bikini Bottomites. There is one person who's very notable, and that's right here. We can see Flats the Flounder. I'm zooming in on him. Flats is the infamous bully from the season 3 episode, The Bully, known for basically threatening to kick SpongeBob's butt throughout the entire episode.
Hi, I'm SpongeBob.
Hi, SpongeBob. I'm gonna kick your butt.
He's not called out by name in this episode, but he makes a bunch of cameos. Moving on though, as the parade kicks off, the first act is another Easter egg. It's none other than the marching band led by Pearl Krabs. And the animators treat us to a wave of nostalgia during this scene, as those outfits they're wearing, I mean, come on, they're the exact same Bubble Bowl uniforms from the legendary season 2 episode Band Geeks. And that episode, Squidward's ragtag band wore red and black marching outfits for their awesome Bubble Bowl performance. And here, Pearl and all of her high school friends sport the exact same outfits. And dude, I love it so much. Band Geeks is like one of my childhood favorite episodes. Sweet, sweet victory, baby. You know what? Here's the thing, guys. If we ever hit like 50K subscribers, I will do an entire cover of Sweet, Sweet Victory. Or no, actually, that's way too long of a goal. Once we hit 15,000, just 15,000 subscribers, I will do a full cover of Sweet, Sweet Victory with me singing and everything. But dude, I've even got more. During one of the scenes of Plankton's float, we can see another deep cut character. Patrick, not Star. The Patrick doppelganger from the season 7 episode Hide and Then What Happens. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't remember this character, so let me explain. SpongeBob's looking for Patrick and ends up running into this guy thinking that he's Patrick.
I can't believe it. Patrick, it really is you.
My name is Patrick. Patrick, not Star.
In SpongeBob on Parade, Patrick Not Star appears in the same way that Flats the Flounder does, where he's just casually in the background sometimes, like he's in this shot right here if we zoom in. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I mean, Fred does show up and he has an entire float dedicated to like his leg breaking, which is like kind of, you know, an Easter egg. Also, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy show up despite not having any lines, so it's cool to see them, but that's pretty much it for references in this episode, and let's head into another one with more. Real quick though, I'm just gonna say, guys, I'm one of the only non-AI SpongeBob channels on YouTube, so please subscribe. To my regular viewers, I know I've been saying this a lot, but I still get comments from people questioning if I'm AI, so I know it's annoying for you guys. Like, genuinely, I'm sorry, but I have to say this for a while so that way people know I'm not AI. So please subscribe. I'm not an AI channel. I'm a real boy. All right. I love you guys. Let's talk about the episode SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist Up, which is a very ambitious time travel episode that celebrates SpongeBob's history. More importantly though, this episode has a lot of Easter eggs, like almost like 15 different Easter eggs in one episode. So let me take a breather. And let's get into this, guys. Here's the first one. All right, so as you guys can see, we're in SpongeBob's living room right now, all right? And there's something important here. There's two things here that are very important, and it's these two pictures. They may just seem like normal, ordinary pictures, but they're actually references to classic SpongeBob episodes. This one references the season 1 episode, Jellyfishing. The photo in the frame is a literal shot from that episode. And this other one references the season 2 episode, Frankendoodle, which as many of you guys know is when we were first introduced to Doodlebob. It's really cool to see that even in season 16, there's references to season 1, 2, and 3. And there's gonna be a ton more. Let's keep it moving. Here's the next Easter egg. Take a look at this. This one is very similar to the last one, and it's very nostalgic, as there's a bunch of moments from older episodes that are shown in this book right here. This is SpongeBob's scrapbook. This moment right here is SpongeBob with the inflatable pants from the episode The Sponge Who Can Fly. Here's a side-by-side, really, really good reference. And this other one is showing SpongeBob and Patrick doing their iconic performance at the Bubble Bowl. This happened in season 2's Band Geeks, and here's another side-by-side. Oh, also, listen to what Grandpat says right here.
I was
Who's gonna play the stock market and invest in goofy goobers? I know who wins the Bubble Bowl!
If you heard him correctly, he actually references the Bubble Bowl, making for another reference to an iconic episode. And this next Easter egg is very similar. It has to do with a certain location that we have not seen for a very long time. Take a look at this clip. If you're confused on what's going on here, I don't blame you, as this location hasn't appeared for like over 20 years. But this place right here is the Comedy Crab, and it's a stage show where comedians perform basically. And if you remember, it's where SpongeBob performed making fun of Sandy in this clip right here from the episode Squirrel Jokes. Roll the footage.
And what's up with that squirrel fur? I guess fleas need a home too, huh?
Squirrel fur!
Now that is a really, really cool reference. It's awesome to see a location like pop up again, especially when we haven't seen it for so long. It might not seem like a big deal, but these types of things help build the world of SpongeBob when we know that there's all of these locations within Bikini Bottom. But anyways, I'm rambling, and here's the next Easter egg. Roll the clip.
Hey, Squidina! The bus is here!
Now, I wasn't entirely sure about this next one, but after watching one of my favorite episodes, Rock Bottom, I know for sure that this is a reference right here. As just like SpongeBob from the episode Rock Bottom, Squidina tries to catch up with the bus, but she can't because the road is pointing up, of course, and this prevents her from going up. But more importantly, she also falls and climbs the same exact way that SpongeBob did in Rock Bottom, as you can see in this side-by-side. So this was a very clear and direct reference. Pretty cool, and guess what, guys? I have another Easter egg. So let me explain a little bit here. A big plot point of this episode is that the events of multiple other SpongeBob episodes are pretty much rewritten by the Patrick Star family, which includes Season 1's Help Wanted, the episode Ripped Pants, the episode Rock Bottom, as I just mentioned, and the episode Neptune's Spatula. And something I found really weird and interesting here is that the second half of the rewritten version of Help Wanted pretty much turns into an abridged version of the episode Plankton. For this one, you really have to watch the whole episode, and you really need to have watched Help Wanted and the episode Plankton to get this one, so I can't explain it much more. But this section of the episode actually has a whole other reference in it, and that's SpongeBob, Sandy, and Mr. Krabs' designs, as it seems that the animators went to replicate the animation style of the original episodes. For example, take a look at Patrick in this episode and how he looked in Rock Bottom or Neptune's Spatula. If you look, his eyebrows are shaped like M's, but if you look at a more recent shot of Patrick, they don't look like that. They kind of changed his design in modern SpongeBob, but they went back to his OG design for this episode. The same thing goes for Sandy. If we take a look at a modern shot of Sandy from any other episode, her design looks like this. But back in SpongeBob Season 1, she looked like this. Well, during the Ripped Pants segment of SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up, look at Sandy. Her suit is depicted with 3 dots, just like the old school design. And this one is like really interesting, but in the original Ripped Pants episode, there's this shot where Sandy's missing her tail, and they actually referenced this in SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up. As look, even in this modern shot, they didn't draw her tail, so pretty cool. But what's also really cool are the outfits that SpongeBob and Patrick are wearing in this scene right here. You have to be like a hardcore SpongeBob fan to catch this one because it's a reference to SpongeBob Season 7, but if you guys remember, in Season 7, there was this episode, SpongeBob's Last Stand. And if you look at the clip I'm about to play you, you're gonna notice something familiar. Yeah, those are the same outfits we just saw in SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up. So even 10 plus seasons later, they're still referencing this, which is very, very, very cool. And I have another reference like this that's very similar that can be found in this next scene right here. It takes place during the Rock Bottom part of the episode. This is another obscure reference, and it's to the season 11 episode Ink Lemonade, which isn't really that old of an episode, but there's still an Easter egg here. In that episode, we were introduced to this character right here, Mildred, and she actually makes her first appearance in like 7 years since 2018 in this episode. SpongeBob has been doing this a lot lately. For example, if we look at a character like Lady Upturn, she originally was like a very passive character, but she now pops up all the time. So who knows, maybe we'll see Mildred more often as well. And this reappearance might be SpongeBob building up the SpongeBob world even more, like I was suggesting earlier. But anyways, here's another Easter egg.
Next. Next. Next.
If you're confused, some of these characters right here, this guy, we've seen them before. They're not just regular rock bottomites. If we rewind back to the season 11 episode, The Night Patty, in this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick decide to do something we haven't really seen before. After a trip at Glove World, they decide to grab a bite to eat at the Krusty Krab, but it's nighttime.
Howling rings, sucker shakes, boogers, crawly fries.
Give us the works!
One great Pacific garbage patch!
Order up!
Turns out that the nighttime attracts a completely different crowd at the Krusty Krab, including some of these guys right here. And here's a side-by-side, these characters actually appeared in the episode we're already talking about, SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up. They can be seen right here in Rock Bottom, which is a fitting place for them, and yeah, it's kind of weird seeing season 11 episodes get Easter eggs now, but I mean, like, season 11's kind of old now. Like, let me check, 1 second. I'm literally gonna do a Google search, 1 second. 2019, so it's been 6 years since SpongeBob season 11. Crazy to see that we're getting Easter eggs referencing episodes from that season now. But here's another Easter egg.
All we have to do is...
I can't believe it ain't Squidina! I was just starting to remember I had a sister.
So as you guys just heard, Patrick just said, I was just starting to remember I have a sister. And if this sounds familiar, it's because Patrick has said this exact same line before. And to find it, we have to go all the way back to season 2. See, this is where I expect Easter eggs. Those seasons are old enough where I understand there being Easter eggs. But yeah, we have to go back to season 2, more specifically the episode Something Smells. As a listen, Patrick says like the exact same line in this episode.
Oh my gosh, if my sister finds out, oh wait, I don't have a sister.
It's pretty cool to hear him say the same thing like 20 plus years later, and I could ramble on about that, but we got more cool Easter eggs to cover, so here's the next one. Roll the footage.
Let's get you in bed, mister, and fix you up.
My kingly docket is incredibly full today. But I'm far too ill to complete my royal duties.
You have to be obsessed just like I am to catch that Easter egg, but if we rewind back to season 6's The Clash of Triton, we see Triton and Queen Anthreg. This is how they look, especially in that season 6 episode, Remember, as if we go back to that clip I just played, look, they're shown right here and are pictured. Now this one requires some elite ball knowledge for sure, alright? But if you watch the Patrick Star Show, a running joke from the episode Pearl Wants to Be a Star is that Patrick's grandfather, Grandpat, and Mr. Krabs have a rivalry. For example, take a look at this clip from Pearl Wants to Be a Star.
It's about time you showed up, Krabs. You know why the Navy is always late? They gotta wait for the tides to wash them ashore.
Well, during SpongeBob and Patrick's Timeline Twist-Up, we get this scene where it's literally brought up and referenced, which is really cool because this shows continuity. Roll the footage.
I hope it's not a problem working for your old frenemy.
I'm not working for you, Krabs. I'm working near you.
This is one of the biggest things I've seen in season 16 is the SpongeBob team is doing a bunch of like little things to add more continuity to the spin-offs like Camp Coral, the Patrick Star Show, the movies, etc. But yeah, here's another one. Roll the footage.
Formula acquired.
All hail the Grand Patty! Patty.
Did you guys catch it? Well, Karen's analyzer, this thing right here, is the exact same one from the episode Plankton, the season 1 episode Plankton. I love this type of attention to detail, and I mean, look at this side by side, they're nearly identical. Also, we don't need to play a clip for this, but something I want to point out, if you ever watch this episode, is if you pay attention to Karen's personality, it's a lot more in line with her earliest appearances. They've evolved her character over the years, but this episode is definitely paying a homage to the original Karen from season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And okay, there's one more for this episode, and then we can finally move over to like another episode. Can you believe they put this many Easter eggs in one episode? Considering the plot of this episode, I guess it makes sense. But anyways, I need to explain. My phone went off, but I'm gonna keep it in the video still, because I'm real. I'm not like one of those crappy AI SpongeBob channels. But yeah, I need to explain this one. But basically, a while back, there was an event called the Tidal Zone, okay? And basically, there were 3 episodes from SpongeBob season 13 where the Patrick Star Show and the SpongeBob regular cartoon had a crossover. More specifically, Grandpat, who would go through this wormhole right here to different times.
Sweet Neptune, have I found the beginning of the universe?
Now, if you pay attention during this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up, I feel like I've said that 1,000 times already, but in this episode, whenever the Star family travels through time, that exact same wormhole animation is reused. And I think this is how it's going to be forever now. I think whenever there's a time travel storyline in SpongeBob, they're always going to use this exact wormhole animation. But anyways, that one was kind of boring. Hopefully it was so boring that you're sleeping right now. You should be sleeping by now. But let's head over to another episode, guys, and I've saved some of the crazier Easter eggs for later on. That way, if you're still up, I still keep you guys entertained, all right? Our next Easter egg, or well, I guess Easter eggs, are hidden in the fairly recent season 13 episode, Say Ah. Now, there have been hundreds of incidentals introduced over the years. This can sometimes result in older ones being discontinued. But fortunately for us longtime fans, the episode Say Ah brings a total of 3 discontinued incidentals back for the first time in like 20 to 22 years. First up is Incidental 62, who makes their first appearance since the season 3 episode New Student Starfish. There is also Incidental 66, who was last seen in the season 1 episode Fools in April. Oh, and finally, Incidental 71, who hasn't been seen since season 2's Patty Hype. Pretty cool. So listen up, as this next Easter egg is a little complex. But let's head over to Sheldon SquarePants. This one has one Easter egg that's really cool.
Why, look, Cecil! It's a baby boy!
Fantastic! I've always wanted our son to have a brother!
Some might argue if this is actually an Easter egg or not, but the ending of Sheldon SquarePants, as you just seen, hints that Patrick's parents from the Patrick Star Show are canonically alive outside of the Patrick Star Show. We've never seen them outside of the Patrick Star Show, and remember that, like, them being introduced technically retconned Patrick's actual parents from regular SpongeBob, Herb and Margie. Let's head over to Single Cell Defense and talk about the Easter egg I found in that episode. Okay, so this flower shop right here with shattered glass is a reference to the episode Love That Squid. You guys seen the clips before this, so you get it, but this one's hilarious. I love that they even kept the shattered glass from Love That Squid. Here's Easter egg number 2.
Congratulations, Plankton! But remember, this technique is to be used strictly for self-defense.
Oh, of course, Sensei Sandy.
This one's kinda weak, but I'm gonna include it anyways. But as you heard, Sandy tells Plankton to only use self-defense for good, which is exactly what she told Squidward in Squid Defense.
Karate ain't for revenge. It's a delicate art that helps you protect yourself.
So maybe an Easter egg here, and even if it is one, it's kinda lame, so let's head over to one that's actually really good. Let's take a trip back in time over to SpongeBob season 5. This season was from all the way back in 2005, over 15 years ago, and the episode in particular is Slimy Dancing. You know, it's actually crazy that they were even doing Easter eggs this early on in the show's airing, like season 5. Anyways though, let's get right into it. Here's the first Easter egg. I love this one. Who remembers the episode Sailor Mouth from back in the day? In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick come across sentence-enhancing spicy words, which are pretty much swears, all right? They're saying inappropriate words, and whenever they're said, we hear like this dolphin chirping sound effect. Listen for a second.
Hello, Patrick. Lovely day we're having, isn't it?
This day is particularly lovely.
Well, this is referenced in Slimy Dancing, as when Squidward starts getting the cramp, we can hear this dolphin chirp in the background, which is most likely due to him swearing due to the pain from the cramps, which is awesome. And by the way, fun fact, this was the second time the dolphin chirping swear noise was used for censorship over swearing. It hasn't actually been done since Sailor Mouth, so awesome reference to OG SpongeBob. And baby, we've got more. Let's keep it moving and head over to another episode. We're gonna be having a lot of fun today, guys, especially if you're a big fan of SpongeBob history. Next up, we're gonna talk about the episode Slumber Party Stars. And here's the thing, this is actually like technically the Patrick Star Show episode, but the reference is to OG SpongeBob, and it's really, really cool. For it to make sense though, we have to go back in time a little bit, guys, and go back to the episode Sailor Mouth. Can you believe that this episode is like 20 plus years old? It's from season 2. And in this episode, we see SpongeBob and Patrick play a very specific game, Eels and Escalators.
Hooray! Escalators!
Now, this game has popped up multiple times in other episodes over the years, but even in season 16, it's still popping up. As look, in Slumber Party Stars, the die that Cecil holds up is the exact same one from Eels and Escalators. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah, what a cool Easter egg, right? These ones are awesome. Another cool reference in this episode is what Patrick is seen wearing during the scavenger hunt scene. Some of you guys may be too young to catch this reference, but Patrick is actually wearing Elmer Fudd's hat. He was a character from the Looney Tunes, and here's a side-by-side, and yeah, it's like pretty much the exact same hat. But let's head over to another episode. Check out our next Easter egg in the episode Sponge Chovy. What a cool reference to the first ever episode of SpongeBob. It's not exactly identical, but it's very close, with SpongeBob sending numerous Krabby Patties out to anchovies just like he did in Help Wanted. Well, we're actually gonna switch up the flow a little bit, guys, and we're gonna talk about a video game. We're gonna be talking about SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom and a bunch of references in this game that reference the actual show. For example, one of the most fascinating Easter eggs you can find in this game comes in the Krusty Krab kitchen. Fans notice that the kitchen's layout in this game is mirrored incorrectly. As you can see, the frying stove is positioned on the opposite side from where it normally is in the actual cartoon. It's really weird. Now, at first glance, this might seem like a simple developer error, but it turns out to be a case of life or game imitating art. The developers likely modeled the kitchen using these reference shots from the show and unknowingly copied an animation mistake that the show itself made in a few episodes. In early episodes like Nature Pants, Your Shoes Untied, and My Pretty Seahorse, all banger episodes by the way, they're such good episodes, the Krusty Krab grill was inconsistently drawn on the left side of the kitchen instead of the right. In any other episode of SpongeBob, the kitchen's drawn correctly and looks like this, with it normally being on the right, the stove. So yeah, a fun fact for you right there, that the kitchen in Battle for Bikini Bottom is incorrect, and it's incorrect because it's based on incorrect shots from the show. Crazy. The episode SpongeBob Trash Pants turns a simple beach cleanup into a high-speed spectacle, brimming with references to SpongeBob's past. The episode finds SpongeBob volunteering to rid Goo Lagoon, Bikini Bottom's beach, of litter, and in doing so, he essentially becomes a one-sponge sanitation army, complete with a snappy uniform.
Trash, trash, everywhere trash. Picking up flotsam and jetsam. SpongeBob's the name, and litter's my game. So if you got garbage, I'll get some.
Well, longtime fans will immediately recognize SpongeBob's outfit in that last scene I just played, as it's almost a duplicate of the Union Soldier-style uniform he wore during the indoor campout of the Season 6 episode Pineapple Fever. The difference, though, this new version is bright white and sports a taller cap, but the homage is unmistakable. It's a fun visual cue that SpongeBob SpongeBob is entering battle mode against trash, much like he did against Cabin Fever. And indeed, he takes his new duty comedically seriously, which, as you guys know, that's how SpongeBob is. Remember when he became a hall monitor? He took that job equally as seriously. Anyways though, when this potato chip bag catches the breeze and flies off, SpongeBob gives chase across Bikini Bottom, and the episode becomes a grand tour of Easter eggs. The first stop, the boat rental kiosk at Goo Lagoon, which eagle-eyed viewers will remember from the episode Abandoned Twits. And there's more. As SpongeBob sprints past, determined to catch the rapper, he suddenly pulls off a classic gag. He deepens his voice to a booming baritone and sprouts a heroic square jaw. This hilarious transformation is a direct callback to this scene from the episode Hall Monitor.
And assume my duties as
Hall Monitor!
Wish me luck, Mrs. Puff. Gotcha!
Fell for the old tears of a trash man routine. I'll just put you in my pocket for safekeeping.
As you just seen, SpongeBob for a moment acquires a deep authority voice and ends up looking like a total Chad, a Giga Chad. Look at that jawline. In Hall Monitor, it was a part of his overzealous persona, and seeing it resurface in an episode years later, like 20 years later, is a perfect inside joke showing that SpongeBob is still a control freak, and he can have a really nice jawline sometimes. The chase scene becomes a who's who of Bikini Bottom cameos. At one point, the hot rod tough guy from the episode Midlife Crustacean zooms by in his flaming convertible.
Hey, you guys must be lost! Doofus Drive is around the corner!
This time though, he gets pulled over by a police officer for speeding. The tough guy instantly becomes a softie. He produces flowers and chocolate out of nowhere and hands them to the cop in apology. But meanwhile, in the midst of the chaos, Bubble Bass barrels through the scene wearing a familiar ensemble he wore way back in the season 1 episode Fools in April. I guess Bubble Bass hasn't updated his wardrobe since 1999, which is a cute detail for observant fans. And keep your eyes peeled on the background as Bubble Bass tries to escape SpongeBob, as for a split second, Patrick is visible hanging from a carnival prize hook on the boardwalk, desperately trying to stay hidden. The visual gag references Patrick's antics in The Whole Tooth from season 9, where in this scene he does a very similar action at a fair to avoid going to the dentist.
Wow.
And we have a winner.
Thank you.
Oh, darn it.
It's a tiny detail, but it rewards viewers who catch the parallel Patrick once again hooked at a fair. But guess what, guys? We're still not done. There's more, and there's a lot more. As SpongeBob's pursuit takes him through town, the animators populate the streets with old establishments we've seen in prior episodes. We pass by mattresses and then some, and if this store looks familiar, it's because we've seen it before. It's the exact same store from the old school episode The Lost Mattress, where SpongeBob and friends bought a new bed for Mr. Krabs. Next is Martha's Craft Zone, which again, we haven't seen it for a while. The last time we seen it was in the episode Have You Seen This Snail, when SpongeBob gathered supplies to make Missing Gary posters. And then, in a triple whammy, we see Weenie Hut Juniors, the Pizza Pie Hole, and Taco Sombrero. Now I'm hungry, but this is the trio of fast food joints where SpongeBob tried working at when he got fired in the episode SpongeBob, You're Fired. Seeing all these locations on one boardwalk is like a mini SpongeBob map of memories, cleverly inserted without fanfare. They establish Bikini Bottom's continuity, as all of these places still exist and are open for business, even as SpongeBob rushes by on his mission. The climax of the chase sequence is equally jam-packed with even more references. SpongeBob ends up launching into the air and crashes directly into a horse-drawn funeral carriage, driven by Slappy, the living dummy character from Nickelodeon's crossover, The Patrick Star Show. As SpongeBob hurtles through the psychedelic sky, keen fans will notice it's the same sky tunnel that Mrs. Puff and SpongeBob flew through in the episode Doing Time. Here's a side-by-side, and yeah man, this is a reference to a season 3 episode. It's really cool. Reusing that distinctive swirling background for SpongeBob's trash flight is a brilliant deep cut, and even the title card of SpongeBob Trash Pants carries an Easter egg. Its design mimics the title card of Jellyfish Hunter from season 2, except now there's trash everywhere around the title. But actually, there's more, and you really need to be a nerd to catch this one. As a cherry on top, the episode slips in a meta reference that even the most seasoned fans might have been stunned by. For those who don't know, a WH2O radio tower appears during the chase. A sunken red and white boat with a tall antenna, mass broadcasting music. Casual viewers might just see a random radio station, but SpongeBob nerds like me recognize WH2O as the fictional Bikini Bottom radio from the Best Day Ever album, a SpongeBob music album released in 2006 that opened with a WH2O skit. I'm gonna play it here. I'm gonna try to put some music in the background maybe so it doesn't get claimed, but listen.
Hi, radio listeners. This is SpongeBob SquarePants. When I'm in Bikini Bottom, I listen to Albacore, the tuneful tuna, on WH2O. WH2O.
In Trash Pants, this very station is shown for the very first time in the series, making the first ever crossover of a SpongeBob album element into the TV show. On the other side of the station is text proudly declaring nothing but chase music since 2006, a cheeky reference to the album's release year and the jaunty chase music it featured. It's an Easter egg that nobody saw coming, not even me, breaking the wall between SpongeBob music and cartoon canon. And with that, SpongeBob Trash Pants cements itself as a treasure trove of inside jokes. An episode that, much like SpongeBob's trusty uniform, stitches the old and new together in one entertaining package. The episode SpongeBob's Last Stand is all about SpongeBob and Patrick protesting the demolition of their favorite Bikini Bottom location, Jellyfish Fields. Now at one point, we see a parade celebrating the construction of the Shelly Superhighway, and if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll notice that the band of the parade is wearing the exact same outfits as Squidward's band in Band Geeks, thus making for another interesting little Easter egg. I love these season 1, 2, or 3 callbacks. They're the best. So who here is familiar with this character? This character is named Granny, and she along with Miss Grusselpuss are both pretty rare in terms of incidentals. They don't show up very often. Well, they make a slight cameo in the episode Grandma's Secret Recipe, as both characters appear while SpongeBob and Great Grandma are knitting. This isn't necessarily the most mind-blowing Easter egg or cameo, I'll admit, but hey, it's pretty cool. The season 10 episode, SpongeBob's Place, has a good plot, but I think the biggest thing this episode is known for is all of the wild Easter eggs. Now, I'm not going to cover this scene, which has like 8+ Easter eggs all in one shot, like holy cow, as we've covered it quite a few times already, but I did find another one, and it's spicy.
Hey! I see the problem! SpongeBob's not in the kitchen!
Remember the nasty patty that SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs prepared in the season 3 episode of the same name? Yeah, well, it appears again for the first time in a long time during this scene. There are some slight differences, but this was definitely a throwback to season 3, and I absolutely adore it.
Oops, I dropped it in the toilet.
Well, fish it out, and I'll dry it with me gym socks.
Squidward has referenced his groovy moves a few times, but the most notable reference, in my opinion, was in the episode Pat Heart Squid, as when Squidward tries dancing to attract people, at one point, his moves are precisely what he does in Culture Shock. And guess what? In response, the audience throws tomatoes at him, just like they did in that episode. Poor Squidward. When Plankton's beloved pet amoeba Spot makes an unexpected comeback in the episode Spot Returns, he brings a big surprise. Spot has had a litter of adorable puppies. They're really cute, but they also would be pretty slimy, I feel like, but that's just my opinion. Now, there's lots of Easter eggs we're going to be talking about, and some of them are crazy. Like, you want to stay tuned for these Easter eggs, but in order for any of them to make sense, I need to recap the plot a little bit and give you guys context. The episode's premise centers on Plankton trying to harness these new minions for one of his nefarious schemes. Well, chaos erupts as the tiny amoebas overrun the chum bucket. In the opening scene, even Plankton's computer wife Karen can't handle the cuteness overload. So she crashes and reboots when she sees how many cuddly, cute puppies Spot has produced. And this is where we can find our first reference.
Cute overload.
Now, when this happens though, Karen makes a certain sound effect here, as you guys just heard. Attentive fans will notice that Karen's reboot sound is a nostalgic nod, as it mimics the classic Apple Macintosh startup chimes. Here's a side-by-side, here's the sound effect from Spot Returns. And here's the iconic sound effect that it's referencing. They're very close, right? I mean, this cheeky real-world reference fits perfectly with Karen's computer persona and immediately sets the tone for all of the other references and Easter eggs in this episode. But let's keep it going and talk about another Easter egg. As Plankton regains control, Karen helps name a few of the new amoeba, and the names themselves are actually like a huge Easter egg, as they hide tributes to SpongeBob's real-life creators.
No, I didn't name you Stephen and Karen and Clayton and Vincent and Hugh. Overload.
Karen rattles off a few names in rapid succession. For example, Vincent is one of them, a wink to longtime crew member Vincent Waller, someone who's pretty much kept the series alive since Stephen Hillenburg's passing. But speaking of Stephen Hillenburg, there's even a reference to him, as she names one of them Stephen, another one of them Karen, and another one of them Clayton, which savvy SpongeBob nerds like myself will recognize as a homage to the Hillenburg family. Stephen Hillenburg, of course, is SpongeBob's creator, and the person that brought this entire series to life. Like, the show really has not been the same since he's passed away. Like, I mean, come on, seasons 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of 4 are the best seasons, and those are the ones that Stephen Hillenburg really contributed to. But yeah, he's referenced here, but also Karen and Clay are the names of his son and wife. So a really special Easter egg here. It's a heartfelt Easter egg subtly worked into Karen's dialogue that honors the people behind the show and made it what it is today. Also, a fun fact for context, this episode also marks Spot's first appearance since his debut in the season 9 episode Plankton's Pet. He was introduced in that episode in this clip right here.
Oh no, Plankton!
You know, I can't say I'm surprised. Hey there, little guy.
But then he kind of disappeared and became pretty rare. But Spot Returns, I mean the title implies it, was his first time coming back. And at the time, it was a pretty big deal. But let's keep it going, I've got even more Easter eggs. The plot soon shifts to SpongeBob, who crosses paths with Plankton amid the puppy pandemonium. Just before SpongeBob discovers Plankton painting a free puppies billboard, with him trying to get rid of all of the new amiibos he has. I just called them amiibos by accident, but they're actually called amoebas. I've had to look up the pronunciation like 5 times in this video, just saying. But yeah, with Plankton having so many of them, he wants to give them away and makes this billboard. But this whole scene in general hides another Easter egg. Just before SpongeBob runs into Plankton, we see him blowing bubbles. And longtime fans likely will do a double take when you see this clip right here, as the bubbles SpongeBob blows take the shape of an elephant and a caterpillar. And this might seem random, right? Like, Cartoon Corey, what are you talking about? But this is a reference, as the elephant and caterpillar bubbles look exactly how they did all the way back in the season 1 episode Bubble Stand. In that season 1 episode, SpongeBob showed off his expert bubble blowing technique to Squidward, and even formed an elephant bubble to show everyone what he could do. He also did a caterpillar in that same episode.
It's a giraffe!
Well, Spot Returns recreates these whimsical bubble shapes as a really cool callback, dude, visually linking SpongeBob's early antics to the present day. It's a seamless reference that fits within the scene, and also rewards nerds like me with a cool little Easter egg or reference. And there's more. Later in the episode, SpongeBob agrees to help find homes for Spot's offspring, leading to a sequence where he delivers amoeba puppies to various Bikini Bottom residents. And we're gonna get an Easter egg here, but I'm just saying, would you guys take one? Like, if SpongeBob and Plankton were going around giving free amoeba puppies, these slimy things right here, would you take one? I think I would, but I don't know. Let me know if you would in the comments, I'm curious. But yeah, when this happens, one stop is Mrs. Puff's house, and this scene is packed with deep cut SpongeBob lore. As an overexcited amoeba puppy wreaks havoc at Mrs. Puff's place, we can see this very important photograph right here, which turns out to be Mr. Krabs. A cool nod and a nice little bit of continuity referencing their on and off relationship, which spans the series. Longtime fans will recall episodes like Crusty Love, where Mr. Krabs courted Mrs. Puff.
You're a very sweet man, Mr. Krabs.
So seeing her keep a photo of them, like I said, is cool continuity and a cool reference to Crusty Love. And just saying, like, what makes this special is the fact that Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff's relationship isn't always acknowledged. It's more of a background detail, and it was actually pretty rare up until this point for it to be referenced. Nowadays, it's referenced all the time. Like in modern SpongeBob, there's an episode where Mrs. Puff starts flirting with Larry and Mr. Krabs gets jealous in the more recent seasons. But at the time, this right here in Spot Returns was a pretty cool and rare Easter egg. And believe it or not, there's another Easter egg in this exact same scene. Another picture on Mrs. Puff's wall shows a pet snail. And this one right here is a deep cut. This is actually an Easter egg that only the most dedicated nerds like me will catch, as this snail right here is Annette, Mrs. Puff's pet snail, who first and up until now only appeared in the season 3 episode The Sponge Who Could Fly.
My snail is up a tree ever since I was a little girl.
Gotcha! Next time, try the elevator.
In that lost episode, SpongeBob rescues Mrs. Puff's snail Annette from a treetop. Now, we haven't seen Annette like in the flesh since then, but it's cool to know that, you know, the writers and the art team, and more importantly, Mrs. Puff hasn't forgotten about her snail. So yeah, lots of cool references in this episode Spot Returns. I highly recommend it, but you guys already know what's gonna happen here. Let's head into another episode with more Easter eggs. Next up is Squid Defense, and this one has a really weird Easter egg. Before we get into that though, I want you to take a look at some of these funny moments of Squidward learning karate. It's hilarious. We're gonna get right into the Easter egg afterwards, so stay tuned.
It is me, a big scary miscreant.
Take this! Hee-yah! Think that's gonna stop me? Hee-yah!
Okay, it's Easter egg time, baby. Roll the footage. This one's very obscure.
Come on, Squiddy, give it the old roundhouse.
All right. Hi-yah! Come back!
So this right here is the Slug Buddy punching bag, all right? It might seem like an insignificant background object or something like that. It first appeared back in the episode The Great Snail Race. In this clip right here, take a look.
Come on, Gary, move it! Up, down, 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 down! Faster, faster, faster! Go, go, go!
It then appeared later on in the episode The Way of the Sponge when SpongeBob is trying to get his black belt. Take a look at this clip. And this is where the Easter egg comes in, as it just randomly appears in Squid Defense in this scene. I already showed you guys the scene, but there it is, the Slug Buddy punching bag right there. Really cool that it reappeared again randomly in this scene. They could have used any punching bag, but I don't think it's a coincidence that they used this one with this design. It's 100% a callback. Anyways though, we have seen many superheroes and supervillains throughout SpongeBob, mainly due to there being so many Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes. I love them, some of my favorite episodes. A lot of them have stuck around, for example the Dirty Bubble or Man Ray, but there have been a lot that have just disappeared. One often forgotten supervillain is the evil Jumbo Shrimp, who made his first appearance in Season 1's Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2. Since his debut, he's made a few more appearances, but they've been far and few apart. That is, until the Season 11 episode, Squid Noir, as Jumbo Shrimp appears as a poster and an action figure in near mint comic books. It's pretty cool. So this next one could possibly be a coincidence, so let me know what your personal opinion is in the comments. Now these were awesome, but they've got nothing on the Easter eggs in Squidiot Box.
Oh, not bad. A jungle safari could be fun.
When Squidward imagines himself in a safari outfit, this is actually a reference, as he wears the same safari outfit that he wore in Yellow Pavement. Well, the hat's the same, so this one might be a reach. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's kind of similar. Next up is the episode Squidward's Sick Days from Season 13. And in this one, Squidward ends up faking being sick just so he doesn't have to go to work, which is very Squidward. He's a very lazy guy sometimes. Just as you can imagine, this doesn't go as planned, and Mr. Krabs sends a certain somebody to look after Squidward.
Oh, you are in no condition to be alone. That's why I brought you some help. Take one of these and call me in the morning.
The doctor is in.
Now there's actually quite a few Easter eggs in this episode, but for them to make sense, I gotta give you guys some context. So at the start of this episode, it's Squidward at work, and as you can see, he isn't having a very good time. Everyone's yelling at him, but it turns out that this is a nightmare. However, during the nightmare, he actually makes a certain face that is a reference to an older episode. For example, take a look at this clip right here. This face right here that Squidward makes when he screams is almost identical to this face that he made in the episode Graveyard Shift.
The sash ringing! The flash singing! The bash pinging!
The hash slinging slasher!
Here's a side-by-side, and let me know in the comments. I think that this was a pretty clear reference, or maybe it was just a happy accident. But either way, it's really cool. And if we fast forward a little bit, we'll get to this scene in the episode where Squidward is fantasizing about the perfect day, which includes him diving into a beautiful waterfront, jumping off of a waterfall, and along the way, we see his favorite snack. These right here are bonbons, and this is another reference. This bonbon snack first appeared in the episode Good Neighbors during this scene right here, and they're actually one of Squidward's favorite snacks. They're more of like a luxury treat, it seems.
This is gonna be a heavenly day. Oh, I almost forgot. Bonbons. Hello there, heaven's little wonder.
So yeah, it's cool to see them in Squidward's daydream. He really likes bonbons. I wanna try a bonbon right now. But before I can do that, I gotta finish this video, so let's do some more Easter eggs from this episode. Well, before an Easter egg, here's a very weird fun fact I found out while researching this video, and that's that in the original storyboards for this episode, SpongeBob was going to paint a painting and give it to Squidward, and it was going to feature SpongeBob and Squidward standing behind a heart of love. Now this was drawn by storyboard revisionist Dylan Houston King, and when he posted it on Instagram, he included a certain tag, that being SquidBob, which is actually a reference to the character shipping of SpongeBob and Squidward, which pretty much features SpongeBob and Squidward in a romantic relationship. So I'm just pointing out that one of these storyboard artists literally referenced this, not in the show, but on their personal Instagram. So I thought I'd point that out. It's kind of funny. But back to the Easter eggs, as throughout this episode, SpongeBob helps, quote unquote helps. He doesn't really do a good job, but he tries to help Squidward feel better. And by the end of the episode, when he returns to work, Squidward goes through a bit of a transformation, as look.
I used to be sick of everything, but I'm not sick anymore. I've been plagued by toxins and stress built up over the years at this job, but SpongeBob washed those away.
As you can see, Handsome Squidward makes a reappearance in this episode. Handsome Squidward first appeared back in the episode The Two Faces of Squidward, where his face got all messed up and then he became beautiful. He actually looks very handsome. And it seems that the animators or writers intentionally referenced this at the ending of this episode. And there's actually a nice touch here, as this is like a double entendre, all right? This is like a double Easter egg. As if you look, Handsome Squidward has long blonde hair. And this itself is a callback to another episode of the original Fry Cook, where Squidward had long hair in the past until he lost it on the day that Jim quit working at the Krusty Krab. So yeah, 2 references in one, and that's really, really cool. One last fact I'm gonna mention before we wrap up this episode is that there's some reused audio here, as Patrick's scream when he falls from the window is actually reused from the episode Farmer Bob. Here's a side-by-side, here's the scream from Squidward's Sick Days.
Now to get rid of the other monkey on my back.
And here's the scream from Farmer Bob. And as you can see, they reused the same scream. It's not a big deal, but yeah, let's keep it moving. More Easter eggs. Our next Easter egg can be found in the episode Squirrel Jelly, but it revolves around the season 1 episode Jellyfish Hunter. This episode is pretty messed up, with Mr. Krabs sending SpongeBob to collect jellyfish jelly so he can sell it as a condiment at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs completely abuses the situation and creates a factory for the jellyfish. It's really sad. One of the characters we're introduced to in this episode is Friend, aka No Name, a larger jellyfish that SpongeBob has has a bond with. Now, since Jellyfish Hunter, we haven't seen this character. However, in the episode Squirrel Jelly, near the end of the episode, Friend can be seen in the background, thus making for an awesome reference or callback to an iconic episode. So in the season 13 episode, There Will Be Grease, Plankton and Mr. Krabs are forced to work together after discovering a well of miracle grease under their restaurants. They both have their own intentions with the grease. Mr. Krabs wants to use it to improve the Krusty Krab menu, while one of Plankton's uses would be to use the grease as lube for killer robots. And if you're a true SpongeBob fan, you'll notice that the robot shown in the thought bubble is Plankton's tank robot, the exact same one that appeared in the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. Talk about a cool callback. Moving from Bikini Bottom to the bonkers world of the Patrick Star Show, the episode Patathon serves up Easter eggs in rapid fire. Here's the setup. Patrick is hosting a live telethon from his living room, aiming to raise money for snails who can't dance. Now, this variety-style show and this episode is framed as Patrick's wacky family putting on stunts and answering phones for charity. But despite being a spin-off, Patathon does not shy away from referencing the main SpongeBob series. In fact, it revels in it, weaving classic SpongeBob elements into Patrick's surreal TV marathon. As the telethon kicks off, Patrick's sister Squidina introduces a roster of neighborhood volunteers, manning the phone bank. Eagle-eye viewers will spot Squidward unhappily taking calls, but the real treats come during the outrageous performances. One standout segment is a cutaway to a black and white old movie-style scene featuring Plankton and Patrick in a Frankenstein parody. In this segment, Plankton's a mad scientist, known as Dr. Plankenstein, and Patrick plays his hunchbacked assistant, Patgore, a play on the actual character from Frankenstein, Igor. They have SpongeBob laid out on an operating table, playing the role of the yet-to-be animated monster. Now, for those who haven't caught it yet, this whole sketch is a loving spoof of Universal's Frankenstein, complete with thunderclap and lightning as Plankton shouts.
Ring! Ring! Give my phone life!
But it also sneaks in a SpongeBob-specific Easter egg. To jolt SpongeBob's Frankenstein body to life, Plankton uses a pair of Whirly Brains as the makeshift electrodes. We see two whirling pink brains with propellers attached to SpongeBob's head, spinning furiously as the electricity flows. And this is really cool, as these devices are a direct callback to the season 10 episode Whirly Brains. These toys right here.
Attach the propeller and watch your brain soar hundreds of feet into the air as you control the action.
These were one of the more bizarre gags in the series for sure, but it's cool to see Patathon resurrected. As I always say though, keeping it going, the telethon format of this episode allows for a lot of other random cameos. For example, another blink and you'll miss it gag is during one of Grand Pat Star's Daredevil stunt segments, as throughout the ride you can see blindfolded boxers slugging it out as part of like the obstacle course. And you may recognize one of them, as one of them is Reg, the tough tattooed doorman from the iconic episode No Weenies Allowed.
Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you?
I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
Yes, so?
Without any milk.
In that memorable season 3 episode, Reg was the bouncer of the Salty Spittoon and famously denied SpongeBob entry for being too weak. Seeing Reg appear years later in Patathon, still buff and now randomly boxing in Patrick's backyard, is a hilarious deep cut. He doesn't have any lines and it's purely a visual cameo, but for fans, the image of Reg is unmistakable. Even SpongeBob himself makes an appearance in this episode, despite it being Patrick's show, and he comes dressed for the occasion. When it's SpongeBob's turn to perform a brief dance number to encourage donations, he shows up wearing a pink tutu-like outfit called a mantu, a male version of a tutu. And longtime viewers might recall SpongeBob excitedly buying this exact same garment years in the past in the episode Toy Store of Doom.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, SpongeBob. What's with the tutu?
It's not a tutu, it's a mantu. You can tell because it has
extra support.
It was a quick joke back then, but apparently SpongeBob held onto it, because here he is twirling in the same costume on Patrick's stage. Our next Easter egg can be found in another recent SpongeBob episode, Patrick the Mailman. This Easter egg is similar to the one found in Say Ah, as it has to do with a long-lost character, that being SpongeBob's jellyfishing idol, Kevin C. Cucumber. Kevin made his first appearance in the episode I'm Your Biggest Fanatic, but since then, we haven't really seen him for a while. Well, that is, until Patrick the Mailman, as this episode marks Kevin C. Cucumber's first major appearance since I'm Your Biggest Fanatic from season 2, thus making for a really cool callback. It turns out that Patrick Star sometimes needs a break, or so he decides in the episode Patrick's Staycation. Feeling overworked from his grueling routine of sleeping and snacking every day, probably just chilling at home in his rock playing Fortnite. This guy has no life. I love Patrick, but seriously, I've watched almost every episode of the show, and Patrick is one of the laziest characters ever. But yeah, despite being the laziest character ever, Patrick longs for a vacation, but he can't afford one. Going on vacation's really expensive. You gotta pay for your flight, you gotta book a hotel, it's pricey. So enter SpongeBob, ever the problem solver who comes up with the idea to give Patrick a luxury staycation right at home. As I always say, don't worry, I'm gonna get to the Easter eggs soon, I just gotta explain all this, that way they make sense. Now eventually, we get a scene where Patrick plans his fake vacation, and it takes place at the Bikini Bottom travel agency, and it hides a fun visual reference.
So, you'd like a vacation?
Oh, great! Another thing for me to do.
Yes, he'd like a vacation.
It all depends on your budget.
On the travel agent's wall, SpongeBob and Patrick admire a framed photo of a fancy cruise ship. But this isn't just any old cruise, it actually foreshadows the very cruise ship that'll appear in this episode's sequel episode, Walking the Plankton. That's the same ship. Walking the Plankton's like the next episode after Patrick's Staycation, so this is an interesting Easter egg. It's not what we would normally cover, but it's interesting. In Walking the Plankton, Plankton lures Mr. Krabs onto a luxury ocean liner as part of a scheme. So the travel agency's glamorous cruise poster is effectively an Easter egg planting the idea. It's a clever bit of continuity between the back-to-back episodes, and is something that SpongeBob's never really done before. There isn't usually continuity between episodes like this, so yeah, it's interesting. Coming in hot is the episode Pet the Rock, and this episode has so many Easter eggs. I don't know if we're gonna be able to cover all of them, but we're gonna cover as much as we can.
We can stop at the pet store on the way. Do any of these pets pique your fancy?
This one's really cool. So first things first, this worm right here seems to be a reference to Wormy. This crab right here though is 100% an Easter egg, as it's the exact same one from the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. If we look right here, we can see sea chimps from the episode King Plankton. If we jump over here, we can see the sea whelks, referencing the episode Whelk Attack. If we pop over here, we can see Mrs. Puff's peanut worms from the episode Growth Sprout. There's also the earworm over here from the episode of the same name, Earworm. We can't forget about the sea bunnies over here from Bunny Hunt. And of course, we've got Pluffy or Puffy Fluffy, the cute thing that eventually tries to eat Gary from the episode A Pal for Gary. Crazy, dude. That's like 6 in one scene. Wild. The next Easter egg on this list comes from the episode Picture Day. In this episode, SpongeBob is trying his best to look good for his boating school picture. However, things aren't really going in the poor guy's favor. At the end of the episode, we see the picture that ends up being taken, but you may be wondering why all the other pictures are, well, humans and not fish or SpongeBob characters. Well, that's because what you're looking at is actually the creator of SpongeBob, Stephen Hillenburg's yearbook, and Stephen Hillenburg's picture is replaced with SpongeBob's. In the season 16 episode Pigskin Pearl, Pearl Krabs joins her high school football team and unexpectedly becomes their new star player, leading Bikini Bottom High into a championship game. I personally really like episodes like this because they're not as focused on SpongeBob and are giving other characters a chance to shine, like Pearl. This has actually happened a couple of times now. Like, we had a whole episode Mall Girl Pearl, which was all about Pearl getting a job at the mall. I think SpongeBob only appears for like a second in that episode, and there's plenty of others, but this episode episode in particular celebrates Pearl's athletic prowess, while SpongeBob and Patrick enthusiastically cheer her on from the sidelines. As the game unfolds, the animators slip in nods to earlier SpongeBob adventures that eagle-eyed fans will definitely recognize. For instance, when Patrick scrambles up the towering bleachers to reach the announcer's booth, he suddenly dons a familiar getup, a Swiss mountaineer's outfit complete with an alpine hat and gear. Does this look familiar to you guys? Longtime viewers will remember Patrick wearing a nearly identical Swiss mountain climbing outfit back in the season 3 episode New Student Starfish, during this gag right here.
Come in, SpongeBob!
It seems the Pigskin Pearl team gave Patrick's old costume a bit of a redesign here, but the homage is definitely clear. Another fun reference comes via Pearl's fearsome opponents in the episode. I mean, just listen to this clip right here and listen to what they call the rival football team, like the team's name.
The new Kelp City delinquents. Their entire team has been held back in school for decades.
As you just heard, the rival football team is called the New Kelp City Delinquents, a team name that in itself is an Easter egg. New Kelp City is a location introduced in the special SpongeBob episode, Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, also known as Who Bob What Pants, which is actually a much cooler title. But yeah, this is the first time we heard of New Kelp City.
Citizens of New Kelp, come out of the shadows! Cause Cheese Boy kicked the bubble poppin' gang right out of town!
This is an historic day for New Kelp City. You have rid this city of the bubble poppin' boys.
It's a rare location that is very rarely brought up, and originally was kind of exclusive to Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. The location was made just so that SpongeBob could go missing and end up in New Kelp City. So it's really cool to see it referenced in season 16 so many years later. This is like a deep cut. Also, by naming the rival football team after that city, the episode is like subtly connecting Pearl's high school sports story to SpongeBob's broader universe. And again, I've said this in the past couple of Easter egg videos, this is something Nickelodeon has been doing a ton in season 16. But yeah, let's keep it going. There's some more Easter eggs in this episode. So the climax of Pigskin Pearl delivers perhaps the most heartwarming one though. When Pearl is down and doubting herself, SpongeBob steps in to give her a confidence boost. And if you take a look at this clip, it's somewhat of a reference to an older SpongeBob episode.
You look nervous. I'm gonna share a special cheer with you. My grandma taught it to me. When days are tough and things go bad, grandmas help you not feel sad. Remember to just be you.
As you just seen, SpongeBob performs a sweet cheer that Grandma SquarePants taught him, advising Pearl to just be you when times are tough. Well, this entire scene mirrors an older scene from the episode Rock Bottom. Now, they're not identical, but it's more the fact of SpongeBob quoting something from his grandmother. Take a look at the clip and you'll see what I mean.
I guess Grandpa SquarePants was right. Don't run for a bus. Especially one that's going up at a 90-degree angle.
If you listen closely, SpongeBob does that same high-pitched voice that he did in Pigskin Pearl, showing that these two are a little bit of a reference. Either way, the fact that Grandma SquarePants was brought up in general is somewhat of a cool reference. She isn't in the show very often anymore and had a big appearance back in the episode Grandma's Kisses. She was actually a lot more present if you remember, like back in season 1, 2, and 3, so seeing her being referenced in season 16 is really cool. Next up is an episode filled to the brim with Easter eggs, and that's Plankton Gets the Boot from season 10. After an argument with Karen, he insulted her screensaver, Plankton finds himself kicked out of his own house, and throughout this episode we see him couch surfing at SpongeBob's place, which is kind of crazy, you know, like Plankton's tried to do a lot of crazy stuff to SpongeBob. Like one time he literally invaded his body and controlled him like a robot, but SpongeBob doesn't care, he's a chill guy, and still lets him sleep over. Now this is where the Easter eggs come in, as during this scene right here where the pair are eating popcorn, dude, there's like 15 plus Easter eggs in this one scene. So let's dive into all of them. First things first, who remembers Whirly Brains? SpongeBob and Patrick buy these things at the Bikini Bottom toy shop after watching an advertisement in that same episode, Whirly Brains. And it's usually used to play pranks on other Bikini Bottomites.
Found him!
Yep, that's him. Hi, Squidward!
Well, if we look at that shot from Plankton Gets the Boot, they're right here. We can also see Pretzel Pals, which is another cool reference. It actually references the episode Buried in Time, specifically this scene right here. Roll the clip.
It's our favorite game! Pretzel Pals!
seals!
Also, if we rewind to the episode Have You Seen This Snail?, there was this Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy paddle ball set. Well, it reappears years later in that same shot from Plankton Gets the Boot. And there's more. If you guys remember, there was an episode in the past where Patrick makes his own board game. It was called Patrick the Game.
Welcome, gamers, and behold! My game.
It's beautiful.
Well, Patrick the Game appears in this episode right here. And there's some more board games. For example, if we go back to the episode Arg, Mr. Krabs played this board game right here.
The Flying Dutchman's Treasure Hunt.
Based on a real treasure map.
This right here is the Flying Dutchman's Treasure Hunt, and it seems that the writers haven't forgotten about it because it's right here in Plankton Gets the Boot. And you guys may have noticed Eels and Escalators right here, which needs no introduction. This board game is iconic, and if you're a SpongeBob fan, you know exactly where it's from. But let's keep it moving, there's more. We can see this Mermaid Man action figure right here, which also appeared in the episode Mermaid Man vs. SpongeBob in this scene, and in the episode Toy Store of Doom. And we're still not done yet. There's the Pin the Tail on the Seahorse, which, to refresh your memory, is from this scene in the episode Opposite Day.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday cake! Happy birthday! Pin the tail on the seahorse!
It also appeared in the episode Party Pooper Pants right here as well. So really cool to see it appearing in Plankton Gets the Boot. If we look over here, we'll see Rocky Road, which made its original appearance in Goodbye Krabby Patty. But more importantly, if we look over here, guys, there's a Krusty Krab pizza, which references the iconic episode Pizza Delivery. And for those who don't know, it also appeared in this scene in the episode I Heart Dancing. We're close, but we're not done yet. If we look over here, we can see a certain set of balloons. They're kind of spread out throughout the room. The F is over here, the N is over here, and then the U is over here. And of course, guys, this is referencing the episode Fun. That is a lot of Easter eggs in one scene, guys. Like, whoever wrote this episode is a major fan, maybe even a bigger fan than me. You know what's crazy though, guys? There's even more Easter eggs in later scenes. For example, during SpongeBob's makeover sequence, he dresses Plankton up with various props. But more importantly, if we look at SpongeBob's outfit, it's actually something we've seen before. It seems to be a recolored version of the exact outfit he wore while on a pretend date with Squidward in Love That Squid.
Sometime today would be nice.
I'm ready!
Not to.
Missed the spot.
Here's a side-by-side, and this one I guess is a little bit more of a reach. Like, I guess you could argue that they just reused the design and it's not intended to be an Easter egg, but who knows? And to be honest, considering the fact that there's like 15 plus other Easter eggs in this episode, I do think that this was intentional, who knows? But there's even more. When SpongeBob scans Plankton's body composition with a high-tech analyzer, the readout seems to mirror a scene from Plankton's very first appearance back in the episode Plankton.
Plankton, 1% evil, 99% hot gas.
As a lot of our longtime viewers know, Season 1's Pizza Delivery is one of my favorite, all-time favorite episodes, with it being all about SpongeBob and Squidward going on a little pizza delivery adventure and doing everything they can to get this box of pizza to its destination.
Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza absolutely.
Now, I don't know if the Krusty Krab still serves pizza to this day, but it is possible, considering that a Krusty Krab pizza box did pop up in a recent episode as an Easter egg. It's easy to miss, but in the episode Plankton Gets the Boot, a Krusty Krab pizza can be seen in SpongeBob's house when he and Plankton are watching a movie in the living room.
Many unbearable hours later.
Oh my love, what a fool I've been.
Pretty cool. Now, you probably can notice there are a bunch of other Easter eggs in the shot, but I'm gonna leave you guys to find them, so leave a comment. What other Easter eggs are in this shot? In the episode Squeaky Boots, Mr. Krabs begins to freak out when he can't escape the sound of, well, squeaking. This drives our favorite crab crazy and gives us this scene where Mr. Krabs turns blue and begins to hear and see the word squeak everywhere. He has a total meltdown.
Could the world's greatest fry cook do this? And this, 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 and this.
Well, this scene seems to be directly referenced in the episode Plankton Paranoia, with this scene. Instead of Mr. Krabs freaking out about hearing or seeing the word squeaks, he's tripping out over plankton. Shelton Plankton is quite the inventor, with the innocent yet evil little guy creating all sorts of gadgets, weapons, and robots. But there has been one invention of his that has popped up multiple times, and that's Robot Plankton. Making his first appearance in the second SpongeBob movie, the robot has appeared twice, with the most recent appearance being in the episode Plankton Retires. The design is pretty much identical, so I would personally say that this was an intentional Easter egg by the art team. And last but certainly not least is our final Easter egg, which can be found in the episode Potato Puff, and it happens fast. In the SpongeBob SquarePants movie from 2004, we were introduced to Princess Mindy, the daughter of the almighty King Neptune, who does her very best to help SpongeBob and Patrick throughout the movie. Now, despite being such a well-known character, we haven't really seen Mindy for quite some time, but she did recently make a reappearance in the form of an Easter egg in the season 13 episode Potato Puff. Like I said, it happens fast, but look, Mindy can be seen as a painting on the wall of a nursery, thus making for an awesome little Easter egg. In the iconic season 2 episode Sailor Mouth, SpongeBob and Patrick learn some new spicy swear words from a dumpster outside of the Krusty Krab. Though they're told by Mr. Krabs not to use these bad words, they eventually ignore the old man and get themselves into some trouble. Well, Patrick gets SpongeBob into trouble when he goes to snitch on him. Before all of this happens though, we're given this iconic scene, like this scene is iconic, where SpongeBob and Patrick play a board game called Eels and Escalators, and it makes for a really funny scene. Well, 10 seasons later, in the episode Bubble Bass's Tab, I think it's a season 12 episode, this board game, Eels and Escalators, is referenced, with it appearing on SpongeBob's internal shelf of games.
Oh, the three deadly challenges! I got this game! Where is it? Game of Strife, Shoots and Bladders. Oh, here it is!
As you guys know, I'm a major fan of the Steven Hillenburg era of SpongeBob, so I loved this little nod. Now guys, we're gonna head over to another episode now. Let's head over to Sammy Suckerfish. There's like 3 Easter eggs in this episode, and they're all really freaking cool. Here's the first one.
Krabs is cheap. Squidward smells.
It's true! Squidward smells great!
References to old school SpongeBob are always the best, so I love this first one, as that graffiti right there is a reference to Sailor Mouth. It says Squidward smells and Mr. Krabs is a blank, and this is identical to what SpongeBob finds on the dumpster in Sailor Mouth.
Lick up the windows, lick up the doors, lick up the ceiling, lick up the floors.
Easter egg number 2 from Sammy Suckerfish is all about the sterilized Krabby Patty, as it seems to be similar to SpongeBob's sterilized kitchen in Procrastination. Some people on Reddit said this one's an Easter egg, but I don't know, guys. This next one, though, is definitely an Easter egg.
What do you expect from a sewer dwellers convention? Table manners? Alright, you've had enough.
So this dude right here is the sewer monster, and he actually made his first appearance all the way back in like season 6, so like 20 years ago, so like 12 years ago. But in Sammy Suckerfish, he actually like randomly appears as a customer, and this is the first time we've seen him since Krabby Chronicles, so a really interesting one here. Another classic SpongeBob episode that I loved as a kid was season 2's Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm. This episode was pretty darn epic, with SpongeBob and Sandy teaming up and going on an adventure to find the Alaskan Bullworm that has been terrorizing Bikini Bottom. Now in the end, they succeed and manage to lunge the thing off of a cliff, and for a while, it seemed like this would be the last we'd see of the Alaskan Bullworm. That is, until the episode My Leg, as during the montage where SpongeBob is trying to purposefully damage Fred's leg, Fred sprinkles salt over his leg, then SpongeBob rings a bell, and the Alaskan Bullworm slithers over to Fred. Pretty cool, huh? Our next episode is Sanitation Insanity. In this episode, Mr. Krabs' penny-pinching ways lands the Krusty Krab in trouble with the law, forcing him, or rather Squidward and SpongeBob, to clean all of Bikini Bottom's trash. Now, we're gonna get into the Easter eggs and trivia, of course, but I gotta be honest with you, Mr. Krabs is definitely in the wrong here. I mean, look at just how nasty the Krusty Krab is in the start of this episode.
Get in the bag! Filthy trash juice! Trash juice!
Hey, maybe we should use another garbage bag, Mr. Krabs. This one's kind of full.
Forget it, boyo! I'm not paying for another garbage bag!
You know, I used to fantasize about being able to try a real Krabby Patty, not like a fast food collab version, but a real one from the Krusty Krab. But after this episode, I'm good, I don't want one. But anyways, what starts off as a riff on Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful, another littering themed episode, quickly turns into a chaotic adventure with a garbage truck mech. Along the way, Sanitation Insanity crams in nods to past SpongeBob episodes and broader pop culture overall. For example, early in the cleanup, SpongeBob uses his porous nature to his advantage.
Oh, all this fresh air feels great in my holes.
Now, if that sight and that sound feel familiar, it's because it's deliberately a reference to the episode Spongehenge, where wind blowing through SpongeBob's holes produced music that attracted jellyfish. This clip from Sanitation Insanity is also a callback to another older episode, Earworm, where SpongeBob's body became an instrument for a catchy song.
Keep your trap shut. But it wasn't my trap!
In fact, the brief melody SpongeBob whistles here in Sanitation Insanity is actually a familiar song, and you guys should already know. I mean, come on, it's the SpongeBob theme song itself. But as the trash collection escalates, the garbage truck SpongeBob and Squidward use actually transforms into like a full-on robotic transformer, sprouting arms and legs in parody of Transformers. This was confirmed by the production team. It's really cool. I mean, even the transformation sequence is a nod to Transformers. And supposedly, according to the team, it's also meant to be a reference to the Megazords from Power Rangers. I gotta say, seeing a mundane garbage truck become a literal robot battle monster is really cool. And there's more going on here. During the Robo Rampage, the show slips in a cameo that made any veteran fan cheer, including me. I'm a nerd and I was very happy. As the garbage bot smashes through various locations, one scene shows a shady-looking used boat dealership. And if you look closely, there's a familiar character here. If you guys didn't recognize him, the salesman right here is actually the same con man fish from Chocolate with Nuts. This character, also known as Incidental 118C, is famous for swindling SpongeBob and Patrick by faking an injury in that season 3 episode.
No self-respecting candy bar salesman would be caught dead without one of these. It's a candy bar bag, you knucklehead. Suckers.
Well, in Sanitation Insanity, he appears in New Grift, selling boatmobiles to an unsuspecting customer named Carl, only to have SpongeBob's runaway trash truck demolish his entire inventory. It's a perfect little Easter egg reimagining the con man as a sleazy used car or boat salesman, which is actually like spot on for his character. Let's head over to Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. And as you guys can guess, and as you guys probably already know, this one's all about Sandy Cheeks. It's really cool because it serves as an introduction to her entire family. And Sandy has a big family. There's a bunch of Easter eggs. I'm showing them all on screen now that we're gonna get into, but here's a quick little plot summary so they all make sense. But basically, this giant claw literally steals Bikini Bottom, so SpongeBob and Sandy head to Texas to save everyone. On a side note, this evil robotic villain right here, named Sue, plans to clone the citizens and sell them as toys. She basically wants to take all of Bikini Bottom and just turn them into a toy line. SpongeBob gets cloned into tiny versions of himself, but with the help of Sandy's circus family, the clones, and 2 scientists, Sandy defeats Sue and launches Bikini Bottom back into the ocean. It's a good movie, I'd watch it, and with that sorted, let's get into the Easter eggs. To kick things off, let's talk about our favorite dude, Fred. As you guys know, Fred is an iconic SpongeBob character who often always gets his leg hurt.
My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg! My leg!
You probably know him as the dude who always says, "my leg." And that's exactly what he does in the Sandy Cheeks movie, like 3 times, making for 3 Easter eggs. For one, he says it when his legs are damaged by the Krusty Krab sign.
My leg!
He also says it when he gets trampled by all of these people running for the free genetic modification paste.
Hey everybody! It's raining phase 1s! My leg again!
And his leg gets injured again during the circus performance. That one was pretty light, but this next Easter egg is even cooler. Who remembers the episode Wormy? Well, in that episode, we got this iconic and very funny stoplight gag, where the Bikini Bottomites are panicking, running around, but that doesn't stop them from stopping at a stoplight. This exact gag is referenced in the Sandy Cheeks movie during the opening when Bikini Bottom is first abducted. Here's another really cool one. If we rewind back to the episode Karate Island, SpongeBob travels off to this island and ends up getting captured by these like karate masters. Sandy warned him not to go, but he didn't listen and he went anyways. And because of this, Sandy has to step in and save the day. It's a really cool plot where it's very similar to like Kill Bill, and she even dresses like Kill Bill and has to go through like 4 floors fighting 4 different karate masters to save SpongeBob. Really good episode. As I said, she dresses like Kill Bill, as we can see right here. And in a similar scene in the Sandy Cheeks movie, she has to fight rattlesnakes, and look, she ends up dressing in the exact same outfit. Here's a side-by-side, and it's very clearly a reference. And I love it, but I love this next Easter egg even more. But for it to make sense, we have to rewind yet again and go back to the episode Band Geeks. And I mean, you gotta know this episode, right? If you're a real SpongeBob fan, you know the episode Band Geeks. If not, you're a phony. If you haven't though, don't worry. What really matters is that you've seen this scene right here.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
As you just heard, Patrick asks if mayonnaise is an instrument. No, it isn't, but that line is referenced in the Sandy Cheeks movie, with Patrick saying the following line.
Get to work, you lazy octopus!
Mayonnaise a what?
This next one is really interesting. Who here has played the game Battle for Bikini Bottom? As a kid, I loved this game, and I think it's honestly one of the best SpongeBob games released. However, Titans of the Tide, the new one that just came out, is also really good. Maybe I'll do a video on like SpongeBob video game Easter eggs. Let me know in the comments if you guys would watch that. But yeah, you need to have played Battle for Bikini Bottom for this Easter egg to really make sense. But during Sandy's battle with Sue, if you look, it's very similar to when she fights her robot self in Bikini Bottom. You kind of have to see it for yourself to really make sense, and I can't play the entire scene with Sue, so here's a side-by-side and you guys just take my word for it, okay? This next one is more of a fun fact, but at the start of the Sandy Cheeks movie, we get to see a version of the SpongeBob opening where it's Sandy instead, and it turns out this isn't actually the first time that this has happened. If we go back to the episode Truth or Square, we can see what would happen if Mr. Krabs led the theme song.
Who lives in an anchor under the sea?
And we can also see what would happen if Patrick led the theme song.
Who lives like a barnacle under the sea?
Oh, and we can also see what would happen if Squidward led the theme song. Let's take a look at this as well.
Who lives in a monument under the sea?
And last but not least, there is a scene, alright, in the Sandy Cheeks movie where SpongeBob is getting cloned. And a lot of people think that this references this scene from Sleepy Time, where we see him multiply multiple times in Patrick's dream.
I can make 1,000,000 of these! Huh?
Nope.
The episode Teacher's Pests from season 11 has a ton of Easter eggs. In this boating school episode, Mr. Krabs and Plankton are forced to attend Mrs. Puff's class, alongside their favorite person, SpongeBob, after a road rage incident. The premise sets up plenty of nods to past SpongeBob lore, so let's get into that, as I know that's what you guys clicked on the video for. Early on, Mrs. Puff shows an instructional boating safety video that pretty much gives tips and is a guide on how to drive a boat. And if this seems familiar to you, it's because this entire tutorial video is very similar to another video we got in another episode, Season 5's Boat Smarts. That entire episode, Boat Smarts, is about Mrs. Puff hosting a boating safety documentary that stars SpongeBob and Squidward. So it might not be a direct reference here, but they're very similar. They have the same like vignette effect on, and it's really cool. But if we keep it moving, there's even more Easter eggs. When class begins, SpongeBob excitedly introduces something special, with him explaining how students earn gold star stickers for good behavior.
Did you know that every time you do something good, Mrs. Puff gives you a star sticker?
Stickers? I'm an adult. I don't care about stickers.
If you're a true SpongeBob fan, then you know that this is a direct callback to the iconic episode, New Student Starfish, where SpongeBob was the star pupil with a whopping 74 stars to his name across the episode.
And those drinks are recorded here on the Good Noodle Board.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Whoa!
In a funny bit of continuity error, here, SpongeBob has 0 stars on the board. But to be fair, this might be good continuity. It might be because it's been so many years since New Student Starfish. Maybe the board got reset. Plus, there's still boating school episodes, but we don't see SpongeBob in boating school like we used to, so maybe that's why. But nonetheless, SpongeBob has 0 stars in this episode, despite having a bunch back in New Student Starfish. But yeah, let's keep it moving. Mr. Krabs and Plankton become immediately obsessed with this reward system and begin competing by showering Mrs. Puff with fruit to earn stars.
Oh, is someone hungry? Ta-da!
Ooh, a grapefruit.
How about some melon?
Mrs. Puff soon realizes that they're bribing for stickers and snaps, exclaiming, "None of you will get any stars," effectively ending the contest. But this rivalry escalates through the driving test, leading to a chaotic finale. Notably, SpongeBob himself drives perfectly fine during the test, which is actually really weird considering the fact that SpongeBob is like unteachable. As you guys know, there have been so many gags throughout the show where SpongeBob just cannot drive. And he's tried, but he's just not very good at it. But yeah, I wanted to point this out because this is a really funny inconsistency. But let's get back to the Easter eggs, as there's a ton during the mayhem. When Mrs. Puff has had enough of Mr. Krabs and Plankton's antics, she uproots an entire apple tree and whacks them with it, shouting a very specific line.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
So this one's really weird, but this line is actually a sneaky reference to the video game Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, in which protagonist Jill Valentine says the exact same phrase before defeating the final boss.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
This is a very surprising deep cut, an M-rated game quote tucked into a SpongeBob episode. But hey, it suits Mrs. Puff like pretty well considering she's a crazy character. I guess whoever wrote this episode or somebody on the art team or just somebody is a fan of Resident Evil and found a way to sneak it in. They were probably in the middle of a Resident Evil 3 playthrough and were like, I'm just gonna find a way to put this in SpongeBob. The scene even shows cartoon stars circling the dazed Plankton's head. Teacher's Pet also plays with long-term continuity, but they also made a little bit of a mistake. Weirdly enough, Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff act like complete strangers in this classroom setting, despite having met and fallen in love back in Crusty Love, and having dated for 16 years as of the episode Whirly Brains.
Mrs. Puff, we've been dating for 16 years now, so I was sincerely hoping that today might finally be the day that...
Yes, Eugene?
Did I steal a little kiss?
Oh!
There's no on-screen explanation for this memory lapse, and was most likely an oversight by newer writers, who maybe didn't know this bit of SpongeBob lore. But hey, I'm an old school fan and I could not help but notice. The episode is packed with visual callbacks as well. In the background is a very familiar billboard. This right here is the Barnacle Chips billboard, representing the cholesterol-free snack from the iconic episode Chocolate with Nuts, which is where this billboard made its first appearance.
Eat barnacle chips, they're delicious.
They are most certainly not delicious.
Not the way I use them.
This exact same billboard also appeared in a later episode, Burst Your Bubble.
You got on the freeway by mistake! Look out!
So its inclusion here, making a third appearance, is a clear wink from the staff to eagle-eyed viewers like myself. This isn't just like a random billboard, I want to make this clear. This is 100% an Easter egg or reference from the production team, and it's really cool. But later, when a driving mishap fuses SpongeBob, Plankton, and Mr. Krabs into one grotesque body, Plankton ends up occupying one of Mr. Krabs' eye sockets.
Mr. Plankton, you were in a horrible boat accident. It's a miracle that you're alive. However, there were some complications.
Hey, what's all the screaming up there? Forget class. Now we can be together forever.
And this might not be a direct reference, but it's a bizarre sight that's directly reminiscent of a gag in another episode. The episode being The Other Patty, where the two rival restaurateurs also combined into a single being.
Show ya.
It's an obscure reference, but side by side, as you can see here, the scenes are very, very close. Finally though, this episode actually had a scene that didn't make it into the final airing, or even just the final version of the episode at all, a deleted scene, where during the last session, SpongeBob unknowingly runs over a line of fake pedestrian cutouts on the test track. I actually was able to find the clip that was cut because Cartoon Corey goes so hard for you guys, and I mean also shout out to the SpongeBob wiki. And yeah, this moment isn't necessarily that dark, but it seems that it was later deemed too edgy for modern SpongeBob, and thus was removed from the episode, which honestly is actually a telling sign of changing standards. In earlier seasons of SpongeBob, a throwaway gag like this definitely would have flown under the radar. Like if you think of SpongeBob seasons 1, 2, and 3, there are tons of jokes like this in those episodes. But it seems that today, Nickelodeon is playing it a little more safe. However, if we go back in time, there are still some gags from earlier SpongeBob that were too inappropriate. And this brings us to our next episode, Just One Bite from season 3. This classic episode centers on Squidward's secret love for Krabby Patties, where basically he acts like he hates them, but once he tries one and takes like the smallest bite you could humanly take, yeah, that was the smallest bite ever. But after this, Squidward becomes addicted to Krabby Patties. And this episode, Just One Bite, is actually famous amongst fans for a scene that vanished after its original airing. This is another deleted scene. The deleted scene in question occurs during Squidward's midnight break-in. In the uncut version, shown only during the Totally Twisted telly premiere back in 2001, Mr. Krabs had set up a booby trap in the Krusty Krab for intruders to prevent people from breaking in when the stores close. But instead of a regular alarm system, he does something pretty crazy. Squidward sneaks through the door only to have a bucket of gasoline tip over and drench him. And what happens next is pretty crazy considering this is a kid's show.
Hey, this isn't water. This is gas.
This over-the-top trap, a bucket of gas, and a robot arm is oddly high-tech for Mr. Krabs, just saying, who usually isn't very tech-savvy, but it certainly shows the lengths that Mr. Krabs would go to protect his secret formula. But here's where the controversy comes in. By early 2002, Nickelodeon removed this gasoline trap scene from all reruns and future releases. They just cut that chunk out of the episode pretty much, so it just jumps. And also, I want to point out, if you're from Canada, this didn't actually happen overseas or in Canada, and let me explain why. You know, I try to keep my content as accessible as possible. That way kids can watch it, and people my age, older people who grew up with the show, can also enjoy these videos. So just a heads up, this part is controversial, but it's also educational as well, I guess. As eventually, the official reason for this scene being cut came out later. The reason it was cut was in part out of sensitivity due to the episode airing shortly after 9/11, and largely due to standards and practices concerns about kids potentially imitating the dangerous gag with matches and fuel. And this isn't just speculation, writer Jay Lender confirmed that even though the scene initially passed Nickelodeon censors, the network reconsidered after the September 2001 attacks. But yeah, like I said, if you're a Canadian boy like me, that's why you remember seeing this scene still, as Canadian airings on YTV still kept the scene in. But yeah, there's a little fun fact for you guys. I know that wasn't necessarily an Easter egg, but in these videos, I'm probably going to start covering trivia and facts as well, and you gotta admit that was interesting.